What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Etheria Restart. A very exciting day today. I have a lot to share with you regarding the release of Etheria Restart, what you could look forward to, and how you could prepare for this massive event. So, for those of you that don't know, Etheria Restart is a turn-based strategy, gacha-style anime game that is basically taking the world by storm in the next couple of days, because on May 8th, which is only a few days away from today, we have the more open beta being released to all of us in the community. What this beta is allowing us to do is to obviously test out the game, get used to playing the game and get a little sneak peek of it, but also to test out the monetization inside of the game. What this is going to allow us to do is spend inside of the game, see how that whole mechanic works, and then when the beta is wiped, what happens to our money, right? Like, that's what everyone worries about. What's going to happen to our cash money once the beta is gone? It's going to be refunded to you in the form of credit for when the game does launch, plus some. So if you spend $100, you get $100 plus some, so that you can get some extra rewards as a thank you for participating in the beta. I actually really like this quite a bit, and I think that it's a great mechanic for them to be able to figure out monetization, to make sure that it is right and on task, and we can get a little bit of reward for participating in that. Now, by the way, if at any point in time you want to pre-register so you can get inside of Etheria Restart, there's a QR code right over there on the side of the screen. Just scan that, or I'll leave a link in the description, and you can get on that pre-registration so that you guys can make sure that you don't miss out on this. Now, I am going to be covering this game in full on this channel. We're going to be doing breakdowns, guides of all the different champions, of all the different levels, and it's just going to be a complete blast. And on top of that, I'm going to be live streaming the launch of the beta on Thursday the 8th. I'm going to be live streaming it both right here on my Echo Etheria Restart channel, as well as on my Echo Gaming channel, trying to expose both of my audiences to a game that I really do think is going to be actually incredible. Now, when we did have that initial launch interview that Etheria Restart put together, a lot of my chat was asking the question about duplicates and about pay-to-win mechanic and about, are you going to be able to really be good inside of the game if you don't massively open up your wallet? And what we learned from that stream was that you actually don't have to worry about duplicates inside of the game, because the progression that you get from them is actually quite small. So it's not like you're going to be way behind someone that's spent a ton of money, got a ton of dupes, and upgraded, as we know in others inside of this genre, which is actually pretty nice, and it's just a nice touch. So from everything that I've learned about, from watching this game, from reading about different posts about what this game is going to be about and what the ethics are of the developers, I truly do believe that what we have in our hands here is a very free-to-play friendly gacha style, which I know those two words going together is actually kind of crazy, but a free-to-play friendly gacha style turn-based strategy game with some insane graphics. And I didn't even mention the music. The music inside of this that they've been using is so awesome. Really do like it. Brings you into basically a whole nother world. So that's the initial part of the discussion. But for those of us that know turn-based strategy style games, you know that PvP is not a huge focus, right? It's usually a lot of PvE, go to different dungeons, take down these bosses, farm this for days so you can get gear. That is not exactly the case inside of this one. Although there is a lot of PvE and those functions inside of the game, there is a heavy focus on PvP inside of Etheria Restart, which I think is a much needed refresh for the genre. I love when I play turn-based strategy games that have a PvP mode. That's usually my favorite mode inside of the game. That's exactly what I want to spend my time playing. Here, in Etheria Restart, they are double downing on this, allowing us to even participate in weekend tournaments. And I could very much see prediction here that there's going to be a massive esports scene behind Etheria Restart. Now, let me just put out there that I've been an esports caster now for quite a few years for many Supercell and Tencent games. I would love nothing more than to get into the same stuff right here inside of Etheria Restart as well, as I learn, develop inside of the game, and really master this title alongside of you guys, because I'll be doing it all that right here on the channel. Now, going back to dupes that we were talking about before, another thing that I failed to mention was comparing it to other turn-based strategy games. You'll be unlocking lower tier champions, and you'll have to level them up and progress them and then use them as food champions to put inside of your primary champions as upgrade food. Basically, you have to take champions, feed them to the better champions so those champions can become higher of level. This now for years has been a clunky mechanic that I have not loved. It's just straight up clunky and tedious, I guess you could even say. But inside of Etheria Restart, they did it differently, and I absolutely love it. I can't believe I forgot to mention it before. What I'm talking about is, rather than getting champions that you have to level to feed, when you go into your battles, when you farm PvE, rewards that you potentially even get from PvP, you're going to get materials needed for the upgrades of your champions, versus needing to drop other champions inside of your champions to get there, which is, in my opinion, much cleaner, much less tedious, and just, it makes a lot more sense. I honestly don't know why it's never been done that way before. Now, when this game does launch, I will be creating a guild inside of the game. Especially with all the PvP mechanic that's going on inside of the game, I want to make sure that I have an amazing community of players that are going to band together and push to be some of the best inside of the game. Once I start that guild, it's going to be open to the loyal people, the loyal followers that are here on the channel with me. If you happen to be one of those first players in, and you decided this is a game that you're going all in on, you're going to be playing this one for the long haul, we're going to have a spot for you. And not only am I going to be doing videos with you guys and, you know, maybe even PvP matchups together, but I also am going to be live streaming every single Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time when Etheria Restart is live. So that's something that we could really look forward to. Live streams on a weekly basis and videos on a regular basis, as well as guides taking us through those initial stages of the game that are really going to allow us to learn the game together as a community. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here are the different champions that we unlock inside of the game. Something that was really cool that I learned while watching the live stream was that the development team really feels that they don't want champions to become irrelevant as time goes on. Let's think about others. I'm not going to drop any names, but games that have been out for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes the champions that you got in the beginning of the game, they're just not relevant anymore years later. Because newer champions come in, they power creep, and they just take over the meta. And if you're not getting those new champions, then you're not able to compete anymore with your old ones, because your old ones, well, they're just not good enough anymore. Well, they stated that that was a mechanic that they did not want to happen here in Etheria Restart. So the 50-ish champions that we have upon launch of the game, they should be relevant, at least fairly relevant, over the years. Now, of course, this is a balanced matchmaking mechanic that is always going to have to be tweaked, and I'll be very fair and say it's not something that's easy to do. When you have 50, 100, 200, 500 different champions in a game, it can become quite difficult for you to make sure that all of them synergize well together and that none of them have an advantage over the other. Obviously, there will be some type of power creep as time goes on, but I love that I'm not going to need to get this brand new best shiny champion so that I can then battle you because you got that champion. I may have counters or champions that can do well that aren't the brand new ones that are still going to be relevant inside of the game. Furthermore, leading us to a less pay-to-win mechanic inside of Etheria Restart. There's so much going on inside of this game that I am so stoked for that I will be there day one. On the 8th, we'll be streaming right here. on the 8th. We'll be streaming on the Echo Gaming channel, and I would love it for you guys to tune in. And if you have any friends who love turn-based strategy and are playing other games right now, let them know that this is happening and to come follow the channel. And if you have any friends that are into like Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, or any of those types of games as well, this could be right up their alley. Guys, I am so excited about this game, if you can't tell. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, keep up to date on everything that we're doing here, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with another video.